Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on Play on GAA. Today myself and Luke are going to do a preview of the Allianz Football League for 2022. Luke, we are currently in the middle of the pre-season competitions. The finals are coming up for the O'Byrne Cup, etc. But nothing beats the Allianz Leagues returning. I mean, today, Division 1, obviously the Shark Tank of all Shark Tanks, the best teams in Ireland. Really looking forward to this.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm completely the same. And look, like you said there, the standard's pretty ridiculous and it is so far. And you look as well at the teams so far in pre-season, Dublin winning the O'Byrne Cup. They've got a lot of their players back already from an early stage. You look at previous kind of national leagues that the Dubs kind of be coming back from holidays and stuff, and the players would be kind of half cooked for the first few weeks, but that doesn't seem to be the case this year. And like you look at Kerry as well, they've been kind of steamrolling everyone down in Munster too. So I think when you factor in the top teams, Tyrone are kind of an interesting one. They're nearly got the Dublin kind of National League thing going on, that they're kind of a bit slow coming back. So it'll be interesting to watch that. There's plenty of good storylines in Division 1 already.
Yeah, without doubt. I mean, we'll start with Kerry. Obviously, new management, Jack O'Connor in there with his new backroom team. A lot of young players coming into the side as well. You're talking the likes of Paul O'Shea, Stefan Cumbar as well, coming back from the AFL. Dylan Casey as well, finally getting a call up to the panel. He has been an absolute star throughout in the club championship for Austin Stacks. Kerry, they won the league last season. I mean, it was kind of in a bit of an anticlimactic fashion, obviously, because of the pandemic. There wasn't a league final played, but Kerry were the champions and they shared it with Dublin. Obviously, neither side agreeing to play the league final. Dublin, of course, were the 6-0 All-Ireland champions this time last year, but their reign came to a dramatic end against Mayo in that semi-final, as we all know. Dublin, of course, on the flip side to Kerry, there's no new era for Dublin. Dessie Farrell will be the manager again for 2022. But once again for Dublin, no Paul Mannion, no Jack McCaffrey, and no Stephen Cluxton for 2022. I mean, in my opinion, out of these two, I think Kerry are going in with more optimism into the new year, whereas Dublin, I think the rumours of an unhappy camp haven't fully gone away, even though, as you mentioned yourself there, that they're O'Byrne Cup champions and they seem to be ready to start the league in a bit of better form than they have in previous seasons.
Yeah, well, the problem I think for Dublin is that it's that kind of transition, I think, where the older players, the fellows that have retired, they haven't been fully replaced yet, and that's why this league I think is so important for Dublin. And it'll be interesting to see, do they get those kind of players, particularly in cornerback spot and corner forward spots. Whereas for Kerry, I think there's an awful lot of optimism straight away. You already talked about Dylan Casey. He's probably going to slot in the full back line already. It's an automatic spot kind of in there as well. And then you look kind of further in the forward line. Jack Savage will be back. Tony Brosnan will be up there as well. It looks a better fit, I think, for Kerry at the moment, and that they look kind of ready for it. They were playing their first choice team down in the Munster preseason competition. So I think it's pretty natural that they're going to go in favourites for this. And I think looking at the score against Cork today in the McGrath Cup final, I think you'd be a brave man to bet against them for early on. But look, I think this competition, with the way the season's going to go and everything as well, this competition will be about each team picking out 3 or 4 new players. And that's why I think, particularly for Tyrone, they won't be too fussed. I think in particular, if the first couple of weeks don't go their way, it'll be just about adding a few extra pieces to complement what's already an All-Ireland winning team.
Yeah, without doubt. And speaking of Tyrone, obviously we'll talk about the Ulster sides now. Tyrone and Donegal, they survived pretty comfortably in Division 1 last season. As for Armagh and Monaghan, they both won their relegation playoffs against Galway and Roscommon respectively. Obviously Monaghan doing it in dramatic fashion with that Jack McCarron point. But Armagh were a lot more dominant over Roscommon, sending the Rossies down to Division 2. Do you see either of these two counties, Armagh and Monaghan, being able to push on and achieve maybe a higher finish in Division 1 this year? And then how do you see Donegal and Tyrone kind of going into the new season?
Yeah, well, I think they're all very kind of interesting examples, though. And you look at the standard of the Ulster preseason as well, Monaghan coming out on top, narrowly beating Donegal, but all very tight games. And their teams kind of that are they don't beat each other by much. So I think all of them are in a pretty good place. I'm particularly interested in Monaghan, although evidently by winning they showed the best preseason form. They're going in few new kind of faces in that team, and then kind of complemented with the likes of Jack McCarron and stuff, where I feel like he can use this season to really step up kind of and play at the level that Conor McManus has been playing. I think he's that potential to play there. So I think watching them they'll be a good watch. And I think that team's kind of evolving, that they were so kind of reliant on McManus, and now you're kind of seeing new faces that are kind of taking over in here. Michael Bannigan and Jack McCarron and Conor McCarthy and stuff. So I think they've been a great watch there recently. And I think out of the Ulster sides, I think they're in the best place. I would also say that, look, I think Donegal will be an interesting one. They've always plenty of talent to come through, and they were quite experimental, I think, as well in pre-season. So be interested to see if they can get 3 or 4 new fellas into that team.
Yeah, without doubt, which finally brings us on to the newcomers, the 2 sides who got promoted from Division 2, Mayo and Kildare. Mayo, of course, fresh off another All-Ireland final defeat last season, but the optimism is really there, judging by the fact that now they look like, bizarrely, they're going to hang on to Shane Mullen. I mean, his AFL move seems to have stalled a little bit. And then as for Kildare, Glenn Ryan, new manager at the helm, a lot of optimism there. The lads he's brought into the backroom team, Johnny Doyle, Anthony Rainbow, and recently Paul Galvin, of course, added into the backroom team there for Kildare. So those 2 sides, I would kind of back Mayo to stay up. But Kildare, I think it's going to be a tough one for them, even with their new management team. How do you see both these sides getting on?
Yeah, I'd agree that I think Mayo have more than enough to stay up. I think that they should be safe enough, and I'd say that they'll be quite comfortably mid-table at least. And they were beaten out by Galway in the FBD league, but once they get their kind of the main man back into that team and stuff, and like we talked about with Oisin Mullen and everyone, they've definitely have enough to stay up. And so look, Kildare's the interesting one here, though. I think is that I'd nearly argue that this is probably a year too soon, this promotion to Division 1, and that I bet the new management team with Glenn Ryan, Johnny Doyle and all them, they'd love maybe a year in Division 2 to get their foot in the door. And look, I think with the squad they have, they'd fancy being promoted from Division 2. And if they could go into Division 1 with the new management team already having a year under their belts, then I think they'd be very confident in finding a way to stay up. But look, I think it'll be a big ask. They're probably the weakest of the 8 teams on paper. And with a new management team coming in, they still have kind of plenty to work on and everything like that. And that the philosophy isn't fully nailed down just yet. So look, I think it'll be tough enough going for them. I fully expect this management team to be really, really good for Kildare, but it'll be hard to kind of imagine that effect will be immediately. So I think they're going to have their work cut up to stay up in Division 1, I think, next year.
So Luke, what I want from you is your early pick to win Division 1 and your early pick to go down.
Yeah, well, I think the obvious favourites at the moment are Kerry, based off form, based off the panel they have available to them right now. So I do think that, up the top right now will be Kerry, Dublin and Mayo. And out of those 3, I think Kerry are probably the favourite by a decent bit at the moment. And then for the bottom 2, I'd go Kildare as probably my favourites to finish last. And then I'll go with Armagh to go down with them.
Yeah, I have to say that I agree with you there. I think the potential wildcard could be Donegal, who could get revamped. Who knows? Declan Bonner obviously has had a lot of time to work with the Donegal side. They were knocked out in the Ulster Championship. So they've had a lot of time to kind of lick their wounds and come back stronger. And having seen Tyrone win the All-Ireland in 2021, Donegal, who've beaten them most notably in the 2020 Championship, Donegal must have been looking at that and thinking, we have it in us to win an All-Ireland because we have it in us to beat Tyrone. So why can't we go win an All-Ireland? And they might look to use the league to make a statement. But I do agree with you on the relegation side 100%. I think it's a year too soon for Kildare. And I just think that the competition might be a bit too tough for Armagh to stay up. But I think if they are going to stay up, I think the side that would go down instead of them would be Monaghan. I just think McManus is getting a bit older. Monaghan might be a bit experimental. They might start lining up without Conor McManus, and I think that might send them down. But either way, it'll be fascinating to see how it goes, how it turns out. I do think that Kerry will be league champions at the end of this. I just think there's too much momentum behind them, too many good players on that side. They've won the league the last 2 seasons, so I think it's theirs to lose in 2022. So, guys, that is Play on GAA's preview of the Division 1 League for football for 2022. Don't forget to catch all our other previews of the Allianz League for 2022. Get them right here on Play on GAA. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until the next video, guys, take care.